We need to hear what they're saying. We need to be available and give them the full attention. We shouldn't be distracted, you know, with the phone. We're on the phone while we're talking to them. And that's a part of nurturing a caring environment in the family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andre, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, we need to talk. It's in the talking that we'll get the healing. We need to have conversation. A lot have been said here by your sister. We getting persons here on the social media platform. They're so interested in what is happening, right? They are in agreement. We have Zadie Smith there from Tate Gospel Hall. Yes. We have our sister Kalinda said, yes, I'm in agreement with the panelists. We have Sister Vanessa Reed from out of Sedgman, Sister Donna Thomas from Bethel Gospel Hall, Lorraine Miller from Gospel Auditorium. We have Raquel Matthews. We have Pastor Parnell from Redeemed Gospel Hall there. We have different persons. Reverend Trevor Lear Booth from Grace Chapel Santa Cruz and Nazareth Gospel across Keys. Different persons. Yes, man, they're saying they're in agreement. They said, yes, man, you guys are hitting the nail on this head. Basically, that's what the center of the argument should be about, where the family should be placed, the importance of the family. We have some other persons here, of course. We have some other persons here from on the panel, a part of the discussion, and we would love to hear what they two have to say. And we are gonna ask, we have some persons such as our sister Simmons, or Minister Simmons out there from Arbor View, or Sister Wilmot Jones, I think she's overseas, Sister Marge overseas. We want to ask these individuals, right? What is your take tonight on this discussion, nurturing a caring environment for the family? Sister Marjorie, Sister Wilmot Jones, Minister Simmons.
Okay. Establishing a caring environment within the family is crucial. And I like to say, the family is the bedrock of the society. What the family looks like, the society will look like. If you have a productive family, you have a productive society. Just look at the family and you will know what this society look like. So as people of God, we have to set standard within our family so as to establish a caring environment within the family, to boil over, to spill over within the society. For me, within the family, one way of establishing a caring environment is to have regular family time. We set apart a particular time every week or every day, every other day. We have meaningful conversation. Talk about what is happening in individual family members' life. What are your fears? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? What was your day like? What did you do today that made you feel good? Or what did you do today that made you not feel so good? As a family, we want to know what is happening to each individual. And make caring for the individual within the family a priority. I care about what happened to you. You care about what happened to me. I care about your well-being. It's not just the individual thing. It's a togetherness thing. If let us say for the children, if they have school activity, the football match, and and the son is in the team, then everybody goes to the match and support. They to each other.
Gospel or cross keys, different persons. Yes, man, they're saying they were in agreement. They said, yes, man, you guys are hitting the nail on this head. Basically, that's what the center of the argument should be about, where the family should be placed, the importance of the family. We have some other persons here, of course. We have some other persons here from on the panel, a part of the discussion, and we would love to hear what they two have to say. And we are gonna ask, we have some persons such as our sister Simmons, or Minister Simmons out there from Arbor View, or Sister Wilmot Jones. I think she's overseas. Sister Marge overseas. We want to ask these individuals, right? What is your take tonight on this discussion, nurturing a caring environment for the family? Sister Marjorie, Sister Wilmot Jones, Minister Simmons.
Okay. Establishing a caring environment within the family is crucial. And I like to say, the family is the bedrock of the society. What the family looks like, the society will look like. If you have a productive family, you have a productive society. Just look at the family and you will know what the society look like. So as people of God, we have to set standard within our family so as to establish a caring environment within the family, to boil over, to spill over within the society. For me, within the family, one way of establishing a caring environment is to have regular family time. We set apart a particular time every week or every day, every other day. We have meaningful conversation. Talk about what is happening in individual family members' life. What are your fears? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? What was your day like? What did you do today that made you feel good? Or what did you do today that made you not feel so good? As a family, we want to know what is happening to each individual. And make caring for the individual within the family a priority. I care about what happened to you. You care about what happened to me. I care about your well-being. It's not just the individual thing. It's a togetherness thing. If let us say for the children, if they have school activity, the football match, and the son is in the team, then everybody goes to the match and support the togetherness. They cheer them on. They cheer them on if they're in the swimming team or whatever. Because the togetherness and the showing caring for each other is crucial. Another point would be to listen to each other. Listen to my individual story. How do I deal with my issues? As a family, we help each other to find solutions. Because we're talking about caring, nurturing a caring environment. How do I help you to deal with your issue? As mommy, daddy, and each other, give praise where praise is due, and give reprimand where reprimand needed to be given. And one of the things within the family that we need to establish is to ensure that we show what I call in my head justice to each individual within the family. how I treat this child, I should treat the other child the same way. No favoritism, no partiality, no competing against each other. Because, you know, sometimes we have some children who very bright and the other one not so bright, and we spend more time with the one who's bright and not the one that is very bright, right? Feel each other pain, and I said already, help them to develop solution. Caring environment, we are together, but we are not fixed as one. So I need my time. You need your time. So we have a time out, individual time. Mommy need mommy time to cool out. Daddy need daddy time to cool out. Children need that their time to go sit down in them room and meditate and cool out. Individual time. All right, and one of the crucial one is, as a family, play together. Play together. Playing together can establish such a great bond and such a caring feeling, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of importance. So we need to establish that, among other things, but that's my little idea tonight.
A lot of food for thought, they say. I trust that we were able to chew on it and just like ruminant, bring it up and chew it finer to understand the importance of the information that you have provided here, Minister Simmons, on why it's important to have a caring, nurturing, a caring environment for the family. If ever there's a time that we need, I guess, the nurturing, the caring is now. No, not tomorrow, but now. Minister Andre McFarlane raised his hand earlier, right? I may not necessarily see the hands raised, so you may just open your mic if you have something to say. Any other member of the panel, right? It can't be too formal. Sometimes if you're too formal, then you may be overlooked. So, Minister Andre, do you remember what was your point you wanted to make?
Well, thank you very much, Andre. Just to say, I put a little spin on where I don't remember. Friend, her daughter-in-law, and she said what it meant was for her to almost leave her own house to go and now assist this daughter-in-law or assist the daughter-in-law's family in order that the families would kind of come into a merger. And we talk about a lot of times, and especially in counseling our church spaces, we talk about safe space, building that safe space. And I ask myself the question oftentimes, how intentional are we or deliberate even on the whole matter of this safe space, and how it is that we, treat with, especially family, when, they say, this is how I feel about a particular situation, or what kind of a patience or platform do we give to persons who are living through different seasons of their life, whether it is, we talk about the family, whether it's a relationship issue, whether it's a job issue. We talk about even the children, having different, developmental challenges, whether it is, maybe a crisis, in the whole childhood, whether it is, teenage issues, whether it is on the matter of education, even church, different challenges that may come up. And so the whole matter of care, as it were, Andre, I think, 2 words, maybe one, we have to be deliberate, we have to be intentional, and as Sister Tracy said earlier, we have to make time, and make time, as she said, she gave the example of, dealing with a child and you're saying, hey, I'm in your space, or we are in the same space, but the cell phone is there to share the space. The television is there to share the space. What is there that the child may want to, or even so, as you say, we live in this world that is fast-paced. We put a time sometimes, you know, if it is just the or between travel, it's just the half an hour. But what if creating that environment means, and I think it should mean, or it can mean, or it will require, for want of a word, for persons to give the time that is necessary and not the time that we think the person may need, you know, in order to get whatever challenges they may be faced with, or whatever, you know. I mean, overall, just giving that time, giving that allowance, or whatever situation it is that this person or person within the unit may be presented with for the matter to be resolved, or at least to get an ears on the matter.
Thank you, Miss Andre. I see Marsha Walker said here, whole heap of food for thought. We as individuals need to put them into practice. A lot of food for thought. Yes, yes, man, and I really see the churches coming on board, different churches from different part of the zones, Eastern Zone, Western Zone, corporate, Eastern, everybody represented here. A lot of discussion going on here on the YouTube page and the chat. They are so much in agreement with what is happening. They're voicing their own opinion here. You're okay to ask questions. If you ask questions here on the chat, we could actually put it to the panel. So if you have a question that you want to ask, just type it within on the YouTube page here, and I'll see how best I can get any of the members of the panel to answer the questions here. All right. We see a question here that there is a question on how do we get our teenagers to start going back to church. Church, environment, family, teenagers. Let me ask our pastor, Kalinda, how do we get our teenagers to start going back to church? Because we know that after a while, when they leave Sunday school and they start to go to big school, they start to talk about the whole idea of them have their school work to do, and they don't see about church, and once they go off to university, they become so sometimes divorced from the church, so, if one could use the terminology. How do we get them back, the young people, the teenagers, to love church just as how they did when they were a part of Sunday school, going to VBX, etc.? Pastor Kalinda.
The concern shouldn't be so much as it is important for persons to attend worship. The concern shouldn't be so much to get them to go to church, but to really develop a relationship with God. And for that, we need to, those who are on the side or in Christendom need to live a life so that those persons who see you living want to gravitate towards it. Just, in other words, you have to be the first example to everybody else. And in so doing, they too will gravitate to what you are doing. If you are presenting it as a positive, as something that you are truly enjoying. But if we come home and complain about this and complain about that at church and whatever, then it's going to be hard to get them to gravitate towards it. You have to also consider that in this age that we are living in, so much things are different from the old time days when people, I mean, in those days, you could say church was the only main activity in some community. There's so much that we're competing against now. So we need to present the gospel in such a way that they can find it interesting. And one thing that I would like to share is that for us to reach that stage, we have to first understand ourselves. And in to understand ourselves, we can present ourselves in a better manner so that persons can feel inclined to participate in what we are participating. So to just say to somebody say church is good and church is okay, it's not enough for this generation. Because this generation are asking questions that we never thought we would have confronted those questions. We would have asked those questions when we were young. But where they are now, it's different. So you have to find a way to get them to realize the reality of it. But like I said, the basic, the foundation is help them to have a relationship with God. And out of that, they will begin to come back to church. Thank you.
Help them to have a relationship with God, and they will come back. It doesn't matter where you roam, you must come home.
Train the child the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart.
Not depart from it. I tell you. Yes, it may sound a cliche, but it's true. Once you train in a particular way, you're saying they will grow up in a particular way. We don't need to rush them too much, as I say. Talk with them, understand them, because they too have their say. Sister Jackie. Sister Jackie?
Yes, my brother.
You have something to input, right?
Yes, I just wanted to make a statement.
Yes.
When we talk about nurturing a caring environment, one of the things I think we need to understand is that there is that caring environment. I want to see if I can put it the right way. That caring environment is relative to your reality. So my caring environment will not maybe look like your caring environment, because the dynamics of my family might be the same. The resources, just the reality of my family life is not the same. And so each member, each family has to work out what really works for them. There are some do's and don'ts, yes, and that sometimes is a challenge, because we want to whitewash everybody and think that the right way to do it. So the wife should have the responsibilities and she does that. And if the husband does his traditional responsibilities and the children are brought up this way or that way or whatever, then we have gotten it right. But I think we have to understand that the needs are varied, the realities are varied. What I need to make my family a safe place for me, it may be different from what you need. And so I just want to make the point that we have to begin to understand. It's almost like a juggling. It's a lot of gymnastics that each person will have to do to ensure that the family is a caring place. So as a church, even when we speak and we encourage and we talk to persons, we have to be careful not to speak in such a way where whatever we say, persons seem to fit into that mold, then they may feel that they are doing something wrong. That's basically what I wanted to point out. I don't know if anybody's agreeing or understanding, but the realities of the families are different. The children are different. The personalities are different. The needs are different. So each family needs to work out for them what exactly a caring environment looks like and how do I nurture that. I also want to point out, I can't emphasize enough the truth of what Pastor Calendar said. And it doesn't apply to only young people, because what I'm finding is that some of our older brethren, their bodies are really in church, but their heart is not in it. And so it's going through a lot of emotions, and the young people pick up on when we are not real, we are not authentic. And I can tell you that the best thing is to have our children develop a relationship with God, to have a relationship with the church. When you go to town and the bright lights catch you, and go to university and you develop new relationships and new interests and meet new people, and you may find that your church back home or even down the road has lost its importance and significance. But Jesus Christ, your relationship with God, wherever you go, remains constant. And so if you can help your child to develop a relationship with God and to see God as a person who is there, not just as that person upstairs or someone who you pray to, but as your friend, your father, all the facets of God. If you can help your child to understand and see him as he ought to be seen, then trust me, I can't guarantee you that there may not be a little slip between the cup and the lip, but as Pastor said, when you train them up in the way they should go, they will never be comfortable out in the secular world. Forever they will be a square peg in a round hole. And they will know in and of themselves that if I want to be comfortable, I need to find my way back home. And home is where Jesus is.
Wow. So
Okay.
powerful, sir. It sounds like a sermon, you know. Sister Jackie,
Yes.
it sounds like a sermon. You just simple. You never know big highfalutin words. Simple. You must be a teacher. You came across a simple way. And sometimes, as I wrote down something you said here now. Put it my way. One size doesn't fit all. So it's not the same. Different family has different situation. And so sometimes it's not a one thing that you're going to use to fit all. And that leads me to a question that somebody asks here. Sister Valerie Neal. She asks here that we need to accept that's not what she said. She said here on the YouTube page, trying to find what she said. She spoke about the blended family. We need to accept, we need to speak on the blended family, because it is not the nuclear family that many Jamaicans are part of. That's the reality. And with the nuclear family, with the single parent family, with the sibling household, different situation differs, of course. And so you spoke so fulsomely on the whole idea, but the common thread that I hear everybody speaking of, if you train up that child in a particular way, the nurture, well, it's a part of the topic tonight, the nurturing. So whether you're from a single parent, nuclear family, blended family, extent, whatever the family type there that you may come from, if you have this particular training, then it will all go good for that child growing up within the family. We see Kay Lewis here. She said there is a generation gap. And if I should put this to any of the panelists, how do you see generation gap playing a role in the nurturing or the effective nurturing of the family within a set environment? Sister Blackwood, the generation gap, how does that go up against the whole idea of the environment, nature, nurturing and caring for that family in that environment? What role that the generation gap play, positive, negative? Let me hear your take on this, Sister Blackwood.
Okay, Minister Brown, a generation gap is something that will always be there. But I think there are some parents that are a little further along than others. But I think the important thing is to create an environment of love in the home. And as Sister Simmons was saying earlier, making sure that there is time, the family spends time together, whether you spend it playing some games, whether you you have a time that you have laughter, you do things together. And in terms of the blended family as well, where there are differences, we have to accept each other's differences, but we still have to love them and we still have to care for them. And we need to praise each other's accomplishments. Sometimes it's very difficult for us to do that, but that's a part of nurturing the family. We are afraid to give, you know, praise, but that's how you build a child's self-esteem. That's how you build and you show appreciation. And so that is a part of it. And even though there might be a gap generationally, those are the things that transcend all times. If you have that kind of love, you have a sort of order that you display in your home, you know, when it comes to discipline, you know, no, we're not going to do it this way. Why was that done that way? No, we are a family. Let's do it this way, you know. And so you have to cherish your family, and the persons in the family have to know that that is important. And even in the blended family, you have to realize that you are a family unit now. And even though there might be outside parents for children, you have to honor and recognize the family unit that you have there. And so, you know, you have dad who is at the head of the household, and mom who is there. But you know, you discuss things, you determine how you're going to do it in your home, and that is the family unit, that is the central unit. Even though you might have a child that is from another relationship, you are still going to have a secure feature in your home, and it's what mom and dad in that home says, that's what goes. And you learn to work around it, and so, and honor each other within that family setting. You know, I hope that I have managed to answer that question. It was a little bit of a challenge because the generational gap, especially in terms of technology, you know, can be a bit of a challenge for a young person. They're so far ahead, and in terms of, you know, knowing what is happening. And sometimes you as a parent have to go to the young man or the young woman and say, you know, how do you do this? What would you recommend? But you, even that you can use as a tool to build your family, and that in itself, you know, is a sort of encouragement. You know, I think that as Christian families, you have to accept differences, but you have to value people's talents. And sometimes it's really so different from what you had envisaged. You know, you see the child coming up, you don't know how to relate, but you can still listen. You can still display understanding. You can still display love. Your home must be a place of love. Your home must be a place of love. That is the environment that you want to create in your home. Your child must feel safe and secure, knowing that they can depend on you, that you're not going to turn your back on them, you know, if they do something wrong, but there's forgiveness within that home. You know, and so that is critically important in terms of the family. And you have to treasure what you have, and you have to build upon it in a positive way. And so the communication is important. You know, I felt a certain way, you know, you share your feelings, and that, I think, you know, makes a difference. And you learn to cover it with love. You're feeling hurt. Oh my goodness, my daughter, my son, my husband, I'm going to pray with you. Let's ask the Lord to deal with this. And it's a training ground. Train them in the principles of the Lord. And if you are serious about God, they will see that you are serious about God and be interested as well, you know. And you have to be praying all the time for your children, for your parents. You have to pray, and God will make a way. God will touch them. I mean, our teenagers, we are coming out of a period of COVID where there wasn't church at times. And so we have to remember that that plays a part in the whole scenario. And it's not just as a family, as a church family now, we're going to have to try to invest in our young people, bring them back to that place. You know, that love is as strong as death. It makes a difference when you reach out to a young person and say, you know, why are you not coming? We need to have programs that will reach back out. We need to take the time to care. And so the love will make a difference. And so, you know, I just want to leave with that in mind, the love will make a difference. And sometimes we wonder if that's not enough. We should never give up and never give up hope. Thank you so much.
Well,
Minister, okay.
I heard the passion. I heard the passion being shared here from you, Sir Blackwood. You spoke from the heart. And sometimes we say things and it just said. But there's a difference when one speak from deep within and you connect with the individual. And I'm seeing where the connection is being made here this evening based on the responses here on the platform, on the YouTube chat. I see K. Lewis out of New York. It is. He asked a question here. Any other member of the panel could answer this. How was the generation gap created and by whom? How it was created and by whom? Any member of the panel could actually answer this.
Good night. I like to address, go back to that generation gap thing.
Yes.
And including in this section, the argument about blended families. Now, the first thing I'm going to share a story that Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player.
Any member of the panel could actually.
I like to just go back to that generation gap. I'm hearing a feedback, and including in this section, the argument about. Now, the first thing I'm going to share a story that Shaquille. Hello?
Just a minute, Pastor Calindo. Ask Margie to close her mic. So you're responding to the issue of the generation gap, Pastor Calindo.
Okay, so Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, grew up with a stepfather. And he said they didn't realize that this man was his stepfather until he was about 11 years of age when he asked his mother, how come his surname is different than his brother? And that's when his mother explained to him. The point I want to make is this, that there's already a book written about how families should operate. It gives instruction to both children. It says that children should honor their mother and father. It gives instruction to mothers and fathers that fathers should not provoke their children. The thing is that if we follow those basic rules, that foundation that we say, we'll be able to deal with most other situations that exist in our family. The whole argument about generation gap, I think, is developed because somebody has to create that gap. It means that one individual in the family decided to create a gap. It's like an earthquake opening up the earth. And in order for that to be fixed, somebody has to decide to build the bridge to go across. It can be either the person who originally created the gap or somebody out of love, that individual in the family out of love decides, okay, I want to reach out to that person. And that's where the caring comes, the nurturing and the caring comes in. Because if I see somebody in my family who may be going the wrong pathway, it is for me to reach out, to reach out in a caring manner, to bring that person back, to go across, to go the extra mile, so to say, to bring that person back into the family fold. And like our sister said, at the end of the day, there's nothing that if we pray about it, if we speak out about it, if we decide to put in the effort that is needed, that we can sort out that generation gap.
Thank you. I see a member of the panel here, Sister Jackie, saying the generation gap can be minimized with the deliberate intent to exercise the basic respect, consideration, and what old-time people call manners. All right, good. All right. I hear you, Sister Jackie. Manners. what are really the implications, though, of the failure to create a nurturing environment? What are the implications, right, for that, that when there is not a caring environment, what will come about as a result of that? What are the implications of the failure to create that nurturing environment that we are talking about? Any member of the panel? Andre, we haven't heard from you in a while. So implication of, what are the implications if we fail to create a nurturing environment for the family? Open the mic for me.
Well, Andre, thank you for that. I think that is a very big question. But we see the kind of breakdown that we have in society. Minister Simmons, when she started, she reminded us that family is the bedrock of society. And we know that as we grow from childhood in our, our developmental years, we know that there are some fundamental things that we learn, from the nurturing that we receive as children. And so I think that as a part of, parenting and having good guardian and having, persons pouring into us at a good age, we see that when persons get older and they, their value system is affected, their perspective, how it is they deal. Sister Jackie gave the example of, just simply having manners. We see that these things become even more a challenge. And as a result of that, even as persons become older, in their association, how it is they relate to each other, how it is we deal with challenges, how it is we deal with conflicts. The different matters are put into test to see if, I mean, as they come into, as they are tested, then I believe that, the kind of a training that we would have garnered as children, as, teenagers, when we, different age and stage, I believe that as we are tested, it is some of these principles that we would have received, growing up. I believe that these are some of the things that help us to mention even the whole matter. If I should go back to, even people going to church, children going to church, teenagers going to church. And one of the things that one of the places that my thoughts went, and the panelists so ably reminded us that, we must encourage people to have a relationship with God. But I asked myself the question, is the church, which is a whole nother conversation, but is the church relevant enough? Are we catering to the needs of these young people? Are they able to identify with that which is, being taught? I believe that the church is very important. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I mean, there were certain ceremonies that, you couldn't move, but in more recent times, it's when children even go to church, they are up and about, they are moving around, etc., etc. So, Andre, with the hope of not straying too far, I believe that there is an importance, family is important. I believe that if the roots are not cared for, if we are not deliberate about children and raising children and, getting children and young people in an environment that caters to growth and nurturing, I believe that we will see challenge, especially if persons who are victims are not deliberate in their attempt to be healed, to be well, and to be, for want of a word, emotionally healthy.
I am hearing you, my brother. I'm hearing you. And it's a challenge. The family, it's, as you said, somebody alluded to the fact that it's a bedrock of society. And if we know the role of a bedrock, what it plays within the earth's crust, it's very important. And so all must be done to keep the family grounded and really together. All right. Now, we are here. If you just came on and wondering what we're talking about, of course we're in Family Week, and we're looking at the whole idea of nurturing a caring environment for the family. And our panelists really have been giving their own take on what it means really to have this safe environment, be the blended family, be the single parent, whatever family group that one may fall in. And so it's important. Now, the implications, you said, Andre, let me hear from another member of the panel. What are the implications really of that may come about if we don't do what we need to do as they to safeguard the family, nurturing them within this safe environment? What are the implications?
Okay, may I?
Go ahead. Go ahead for me. Yes.
So I think the first we need to look at are what are some of those things that would cause the lack of nurturing. So things like physical abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, traumatic experience. In a simple like we're in a hurricane season now, a child experiencing a hurricane may result in that child being traumatized. Experiencing like severe illness or the loss of a parent. And at the end of the day, these things may result in the child maybe becoming, start smoking or becoming alcoholic, use of illegal drugs, become abusive or violent, may become anger, develop with the family or even the very same community. Sometimes the child may become promiscuous, and there are extreme situations where that individual may become suicidal. It also affects senior persons after a while because they may live with a life of guilt or unforgiveness, or they may end up having withdrawal syndrome, or even stop caring for themselves properly. I think though, as the panelists raised the discussion, the relevance in these days of the church, I think what we need to focus on to some extent is how can we, what are the necessary solutions that we can put forward in order to help persons so that it doesn't go to the extreme, or even if they are in that situation, help them out of that situation. Is the church relevant? I think the relevance of the church is dependent on the body of the church, meaning the members. It's not a one-man job. It is a group effort. So therefore, and maybe this is where sometimes there's a gap in the church as well, where persons might not feel that one individual suggestion or one event is relevant enough, or one individual idea. But I think if we operate as a group, if we operate as a body, if we come together and plan things, things like visiting, providing counseling care for persons, providing peer support for individuals, things like that can help situations and help persons who, for want of a better term, who may feel lost or on the wrong road at the time. Thank you. Can I add something right here?
Go ahead.
Okay. The question was asked, what can be the result if when we establish a caring environment within the family? I think when that is not done, we end up with a society of people who really don't care about each other.
I need to have this for me, myself, and I. And if it means tear you down to get it, I don't care about your feeling too tough. I just know that I want what I want. You see, because that care is that should have been established within the family is not transferred to the society. So I don't care about your feeling. If I am going to grab your purse, take your money because I need to have a food, I will take your purse because I need to have a food. It doesn't matter whether you have money to go home or you don't have money to eat food. I just think about myself. The care for each other is not there. And we are seeing this kind of reality in our society right now. So that's just one point that I thought, you know, where we don't have the care within the family, goes over into the society.
Yes. So Blackwood, the same question. The implication of not nurturing a caring environment for the family.
Yes, Minister. The implications are quite obvious, and sometimes we don't connect the dots. But if we don't have that caring environment, we have a society of juvenile delinquents and criminals because they don't have the love that they need to have. I agree with Sister Simmons right there, because even as we are looking at this topic, we have to acknowledge that there is a challenge where families are broken, where, you know, there is the absence of father, where the mother is not able to show affection for whatever the reason. It creates a problem in society. And then also, you don't have a lack of parental supervision and discipline in the way that it should be done, or the child is rejected, you know, and we have heard stories like that. Those things create long-standing issues for our children who eventually grow up into adults and are cold and lacking in love. You know, there is parental abuse, you know, verbal abuse of the child, or you neglect the child, or the child might have criminal parents. So where there is a lack of that nurturing environment, you have problems. And we certainly as a society have been seeing that, especially in Jamaica. You know, there's no stability in the home, and there is not the kind of godly reflection of love, because even though, you know, I said earlier we need to show love in the home, there are certain things that should be differentiated. There are certain boundaries that should be established. There's a difference between doing it the right way and the wrong way. You know, you have families where there's incestuous relationship. You have families where the parent may be single, and, you know, there are a number of partners, but that's not what we are advocating. We are advocating a different kind of family. And we are saying that where in society you have those strong families make for stronger societies. And so in Jamaica land we love, there is a breakdown in terms of the family, you know, and so we have to look into it even within church ourselves. And this is where our family life ministry, you know, has really come about, and there are things that we need to address. And that's why I said earlier, we need to have a lot more conversations, because there's been a breakdown along the way. The enemy has been attacking, and there's been a breakdown, and there's a lack of love, and there's a breakdown in the marital home, or in general, in terms of how the children are treated. So there are certain standards that we have to adhere to in terms of providing the secure environment for our children, and it should be spoken about, because some people, depending on the background that they come from, they are not aware. And some of them we have in our churches, sometimes we tend to assume too much, but, you know, we need to recognize that where there's a problem, there is a lack of love somewhere. And there is, you know, a need for us to move towards the love of God. What is God saying to us? that we need to do in our family. How do we treasure the children that he has given to us, the people that he has given to us within our family? You know, we really have to recognize that there's a link when the family is not strong, when we are not speaking the word of God on a regular basis to our children and instituting a certain kind of environment. You know, sometimes we tend to let the world dictate, but no, as parents, we have to ensure that we speak the word of God, speak the truth, and we're not going to become so stiff and strict that the children can't talk to us and can't relate to us, or we become so holier than thou. No, we have to bring it down to their level, and we have to make sure that we are emotionally there for our children, and we develop the kind of bonds with them that will be the building blocks for strong families. So that is what I wanted to say in a nutshell. I hope I've addressed the question.
In a nutshell. Yes, Sister Blackwood, sound words indeed. As a sister, Kroll, Jackie, texting some messages and stuff there in the chat. But could you voice your opinion though, Sister Jackie, briefly, as we seek to wrap up this first panel discussion in our family week? Sister Jackie.
I'll just basically comment briefly on what I wrote. Certainly the growth of the church will be retarded if we do not address this issue. You know, I don't know about other churches, but certainly there was a time in my church, Return Gospel, where the Sunday school was made up of mostly believers' children. And we had persons from outside, yes, and there was a natural filter. It was almost automatic that you moved, you transitioned from Sunday school into big church. So as soon as you're in Sunday school for a little while, it's almost automatic that by the time you get to 11, 12, you would be getting baptized. So we had a lot of young persons, and Pastor Quick News from my church would tell a lot of young persons who got baptized as teenagers because it was almost a natural transition. What we're finding now is that a lot of our brethren, their children don't come to church. They don't come to Sunday school. They are left at home sometimes. And so if that's why I say the growth of the church will be retarded. And just the work of the pastor is a bit harder because obviously he'll have more work to do in terms of ministering to the brethren. So pastors can say that. Also, hurting people hurt people. And so what we have is a cycle of hurt that may go on for generations. If we don't nip this in the bud, if we don't control it to a point, it's like a recurring decimal. And so I'm hurt and I don't know, my hurt has not been dealt with. And I certainly am going to start a family because my need for relationship and my need for belonging and my need for a family and reprocreation doesn't cease even if I'm not a suitable candidate for a relationship. And so if we continue to be in families where persons are not exposed to what it means to be in a healthy relationship, to be in a healthy family, what it takes to make a family work, then what we'll have is the cycle continuing. Because you can't give what you don't have. And if you don't know what a healthy family looks like, what a caring environment looks like, how to nurture, then certainly you won't be able to give that. And finally, and because society and the church is made up of families, we will have a defective, degenerate society. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So it's a self-preservation act. If we as a church can get persons to understand the need to begin look at nurturing wholesome and healthy families, we are basically securing our own futures. I say to parents that are out there, how you will be treated in your old age is to some extent dependent on how well you parent. It's not a guarantee, but certainly it makes the prospect of your child, understanding their responsibility to you as an aged parent much easier. And so an investment in our children and in their headspace and in helping them to understand their reality is an investment in your own comfort level as you go older. There's more to be said, but I'll leave it at that.
I know you're winding down.
May I
but
say something?
Can I ask the question, Marjorie?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Marjorie. Go ahead. Let me ask.
Okay, I am really enjoying this topic, and I am thankful for those people who have tuned in. But I don't think we should close without looking at one aspect of a nurturing, caring family, and that aspect to me is the money matters.
Money
In
matters.
all, money matters. The financial part of the family, that is love, then that is the next part. And if we don't teach our
Marjorie, come in
children,
the camera so we can see you. We can see you good. Yes.
yes, if we don't teach our children how to manage money, what God says about money, then we will find that we are going to have families that are not balanced. We will have men that can never get married because they don't know how to manage money. We will have children who just waste everything they have. So we should, as Christians, as family, teach our children how to manage money. We should start at an early age, give them what we would call pocket money, or a little money that they do their chores with for, and teach them how to manage it. They need to save some for themselves. They need to spend a little for themselves. They need to give to the Lord. They need to put a little to give others who are going to be needy. Because now, if we find sometimes when we give children, even adults too, some money, they just waste it. They just go out and splurge, they spend. This is going to be spent on me, and buy things that are not necessary. And we have found that there are a lot of families that cannot stand up on their feet because they do not know how to manage their finance. They do not know how to manage money. And so in caring and in building and nurturing family, we should not leave out the part of finance. God speaks, the Bible speaks a lot about finance. And we find that a lot of churches are lacking because the members, they were never taught about finance. So they don't know how to give to the Lord or the things or the service of the Lord. And so oftentimes we lose our blessings when we don't adhere to good financial or good money management and spending. So I trust that each of us, each family that is listening, will start giving your young children a little money and show them how to use it. Put away something. You have to give even this penny to the church out of that 10 cents that you have. And then when they get older, the church will not be lacking so because we have learned that this is what we should do. Thank you.
Yeah. May I just add, Andre, if you would permit me?
Sure.
You know, so we're talking about nurturing a caring environment, and I'm recalling when I was a child. I have an older brother, and I distinctly remember there were like evenings when he came in, and I went to the grill and opened the gate and let him in, and he came in and he said thanks. That simple word, thanks. And I remember it from I've been a child. I always remember those simple statements. Thank you for doing this. It resonated with me throughout my life, and the value, because it meant a lot for me as a child that my brother came through the grill And after he came in, he turned around and he said, thanks. In other words, he was thanking me for opening the door. And we're talking about there are so many of these little things that we can do to create a different environment. Just the gentleness, the ways we call each other. Even some families, the nicknames that are given to some people are the names, them disgusting, some nasty, ugly name that you can't go to a road and nobody call it that and you feel good. Ugly names, and we call these names in a way of demeaning our family members. Things like those that we say, things that we do, the way we handle, and when we are things that we say, those things are really they take away from caring and nurturing. I believe that we have grown up into a culture of aggression. We have inherited that from our ancestors. We have inherited that from slavery, and we have perpetuated it to perfection. And so I believe we are one of the makers. And it doesn't take anything much for us to manifest that. And I think that that's a part of our culture that we need to challenge. It is not easy for many of us because we don't know it any other way. Our look, how we look on each other, the tone and the very mannerisms, how we answer, how we feed each other, how we give, and even elder persons. Sometimes if you, I know there are some adults who commit suicide, especially when they reach ages of senility and can't function as they used to. Because they fear the family members. They fear the treatment, the aggressive, mean, dreadful ways in which they are treated. And I really chatted it out, but I think that's important to say. Andre, I think you have something to add.
I tell you, I mean, this discussion could go on and on and on and on, because our sister Margie there spoke about money. I think we need a session on money matters, on the family, because it has shown then that, money has brought family together and has broken family. But as the common thread that I'm hearing from all the panelists this evening is the whole idea of the nurturing a caring environment for the family. It starts at home, right? At the home. Everybody keep pointing to the same place, home. The good old Jamaican proverb said, dance a yard before you go abroad. If we get it right at home, that's what I'm hearing from the panelists. If we get it right at home, then guess what? It all goes well for the society, because the society is made up of family. It's a riveting discussion. The persons online here on the YouTube page, they have commented, they have given their say. I've heard what they are contributing, and we're seeing a common thing between what the panelists are saying and what those here on the YouTube page are saying. And so we are so appreciative of you being on this evening in this our family week, right? Here in the Church of the Firstborn. We have a person joining us from abroad. I see a person here that's coming from Texas, New York, across the world, different zones. You are part of this, and you matter, because we may not be blood family, but we are church family. And if we can get it right within the church, then I believe we have a very good chance of getting it right in the society. And so I really want to thank the members of the panel who shared this evening. Pastor Kalinda, bless the Lord. We heard you, sir, and your take tonight, your comments, what you had to say tonight was really, really good to hear, sir. Our Minister Andre McFarlane, a young man who loved the Lord. He spoke passionately about the issue of nurturing the family within the said environment. Our Sister Blackwood, oh, she speaks from the heart. I could just sit here and listen to her all night. Thank you, Sister Blackwood, for sharing with us. Our Deaconess Jacqueline Kroll, she had so much to say tonight, but time would not allow her. But we want to inculcate this type of discussion, and thumbs up to the Family Life Ministry within our own Church of Firstborn that seek to bring to the fore a discussion like this that we need to have. We need to really work within the family setting to get it right, because when we get it right within the family, quite strong possibility that we will get it right within the general society. Pastor Courtney, any closing words before we pray?
Yes, just to say, my brethren, on Sunday evening at 5 p.m. we wish to continue the discussion, and our focus at that time is on the implications of social media. I don't know if this is an issue that concerns you, but I think it is an issue that has significant implications for families, whether it resonates with you now or later. And we want to have that conversation on Sunday evening. We have another panel of persons, young people as well as mature people, who would be affected to some degree by what the situation is. We want to talk about it. We want to talk about how even the social media can be a support in terms of building the family. So we join us on Sunday at 5 o'clock as we continue this conversation. May the Lord bless you, and thank you so much for joining us as we continue. Of course, remember this weekend too, we are having the TSA special activity on Saturday, and of course the couples retreat, which begins on Friday. And God bless you.
God bless you indeed. It is fitting for us to pray at this time. I'm going to ask our Rev in the house, Calendar, to dismiss us in prayer now. And remember those who are online also.
Let us pray. Mighty God, we thank you, Lord, for tonight. We thank you for all that was discussed. Thank you for all those who participate. We thank you for those who joined us, Lord, from different corners of the world. We pray, Lord God, that this discussion will not go in vain, and that, Lord, we begin to apply. And we begin, Lord, to reach out, to begin to learn, to nurture, and to care for the least or the greatest in our family. We ask, Lord, that as we disperse, that your grace and your mercy go with. In Jesus' name, amen.
We're emergency medicine physicians, cardiologists, pain management specialists,